Welcome to the Hamsing Analytics Daily Market Commentary. I'm Pablo Navarro. Today is Tuesday, November 13, 2012. For the market internals, the New York Stock Exchange advanced decline differential closed at negative 1,142. Nasdaq advanced decline differential closed at negative 779. We had 7 new 52-week highs for the S&P 500 and 24 new 52-week lows for the S&P 500. Pretty negative action here on the market internals today. For the volatility, 741,000 contracts traded on the VIX today, with 85 million in total premiums paid. Very big volume here today. On the November dollar-weighted put-call ratio, 1.8 reading, which is neutral with 18% of the total premiums paid. On December, 0.37, which is bearish, with 28% of the total premiums paid. And in January, a 0.23 reading, which is bearish, with 54% of the total premiums paid. Some bearish inclination here today on the dollar-weighted put-call ratio. Here we have the daily chart for SPX. We have an outside day reversal. We finished down 5.5 handles for the day, and we also closed below the 200-day moving average with an outside day, which was pretty bearish here overall. We're looking for lower prices, maybe even below the 1360, 1355 I was talking about. So we'll see what happens after here. Let's look at the intraday action. Here you can see the 60-minute chart. We opened and started going higher. You can see here how low we opened. The market was going higher, pretty solid bit at the morning, and then we just started selling off, drifting lower and lower, finishing down for the day and an outside day, which was pretty important here. As for the levels, we're still looking for 1357 as our first support here on the downside, and if we get a big sell-off, maybe even 1335. On the upside, we're looking for 1400 or 1395, which is weekly pivot. And if we get a big buying opportunity here, 1417, that's gonna be our weekly support number 1. Let's go here for SPY to get some targets. Here we have the SPY. We're looking for 136. And below we're looking for 133.8. On the upside, weekly pivot is at 139.8, and above we're looking for 142. Let's go to our moving averages chart here, and we have their daily chart. You can see this big outside day reversal, finishing down for the day on SPY, and also below the 200-day moving average. We talked about maybe pulling back to this 135, 136 level. So that's the target here. Let's go to the Qs. Here we have the daily chart for the Qs. We do not have an outside day reversal for the Qs, so we have a pretty bearish pattern here. We continue to make lower lows, and we continue to finish here down. Nasdaq was all the time lagging here today. Even when the SPY was up for the day, the Nasdaq was lower, so that was important here to watch. We're still looking for our 62 and then our 60 target. We're 1 point away from our first target. We called about a week or more away, and now our second one is 60. If we go to the 60-minute chart, 60-minute chart here, you can see it. We're looking for 62.34 and 61.25. Those are the levels on the downside. On the upside, 64.24. That's weekly pivot, and 65.35. So we want to see our 32 meet our first target, and from then we'll take it on. Let's go to the IWM. This is the Russell 2000 ETF, and let's start here with the moving averages chart. We did make a slightly lower low here, and we continue to be in a pretty bearish pattern. We're looking for 77.5. We talked about that target some time ago, and even going back to 74, 73s. So we continue to see maybe any pullback, any bounce here to this 80 level, try to sell it lower. But from here, we're looking for very bearish patterns here, lower highs, lower lows. And now we're starting to get a more steep curve to the downside, which is not positive at all. If we go to our chart here, 60-minute chart, we're looking for 77.87 and 76.40. Those are the two targets on the downside. On the upside, we're looking for 80.22 and 81.70. As we can see here, most of the charts have been bearish. Also, important thing, today we were going higher. We were reversing from an overnight action, and the market could not hold on to the bid in the morning and just sold off pretty hard in the afternoon. So that also confirmed the bearish sentiment here coming into the market. Last chart we're gonna look at GLD. Let's start here with the daily chart. GLD, we're still holding the 20-day moving average. This is important. We talked about yesterday. We're going higher. We want to close this above this 55-day moving average of 168.9. We want to close above it and start rallying to the 74 level, 174. Any pullback below the 20-day moving average could start seeing as a lower low. After we try to pull on this higher high from here and we failed, maybe try to go even lower below the 200-day moving average. So we do want to hold this pattern. We're still on an upward trend here, maybe getting a little pullback, but we want to start seeing some type of a bounce up here, maybe go higher. If we do fail here, we're looking for 160, 162. That's the 200-day moving average, and I'm looking for a fail there and even going lower, maybe for the 56, 58 level. So keep an eye on these levels. GLD at a very important point here. Going to SLV. Here we have the silver ETF. Pretty much the same. You can see here we're respecting the upward trend line still, and we also are respecting the 20-day moving average. But we want to start breaking that 55-day moving average to the upside pretty fast. Today we sold off once we got near that. We want to start getting above it, above 32, and go and look for the 34 level and break that to the upside. We need to do that because the next time the 200-day moving average will probably not hold. So keep an eye on this upward trend line and the 55-day moving average. Here we have the Mcclellan Oscillator. You know, we talked about when it's oversold levels, negative 162 right now. We are not deeply oversold, but we're starting to get there. We want to maybe see another 2 or 3 days flush, maybe to get to negative 300. That would be the perfect entry point here, maybe for a short-term bounce. But we are not extremely oversold, just oversold level. So keep an eye on that. Maybe we get a bounce, but not quite as a huge bounce. If we get maybe a little 2 more days of selling pressure to get to that negative 300 on the Mcclellan Oscillator. We have a special offer by TradeStation. Get your Hamsey Analytics proprietary indicators paid by TradeStation. Contact Active Traders office in Chicago, Peter Albino, at the number listed below. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.